Welcome to Simmons Radio. We are back with little Dave. It is Monday, and he just got back from training at Brad, one of my former clients' garage gym.
Mhm.
Oh, we were talking before I hit record, like watching that video you sent me of it's so for everyone who's listening, his leg day was you do a top set of 20 of leg press, and then you just lunge until you can't stand upright. Um, you want to tell people how that felt in real life?
Oh yeah, it's it basically criminal
Yeah.
because like the we took the 50s down for I maybe got like 8 or 9 steps per leg with the 50s.
Right.
Went down with them, stayed down with them, so dropped them. Resetted myself, then kept doing walking lunges until I got to the end, and then turned back and finished that. It's like one of those ones where like your body just says no
Mm.
because you get down there and your body's like you don't have like you lose motor control. You
Correct.
know,
Yep.
it's like
Yep.
doing a bicep curl. Obviously you can't go up any further. It's just not there.
Yes.
And you're
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. We'll figure this out.
What the reason I like that so much is after you go to body weight on those lunges, it forces me to think like actively squeeze your glutes, squeeze your adductors, stay tight on the quad, control the negative. Because if you like what I call like dead fish and flop down, you'll just eat shit. Like,
Yeah,
so you really have to slow that negative down, even though you almost aren't doing it purposely.
yeah,
And again, that's a testament to you because I think most people would see that. I'm like, oh, just do a hard set of 20 on the leg press and then go lunge. It's not that big of a deal. But if you literally take the set of leg press where you did, l- lunging becomes increasingly more difficult. Because if my memory is right, it was two and a half. It was at least two forced reps.
yeah.
Uh, maybe three. I can't remember. I have to rewatch it. But I mean, again, that man, anytime you send me those, I text you like it always makes me smile to know when I write a program for someone, they do it the way I intended it.
Yeah.
And sadly, a lot of times, I know John and I used to talk about this frequently. Like anyone who ever did one of his workouts and reported back to us, oh, that wasn't that bad. I would always just say, then you didn't do it right.
Yeah.
Because as you know, and I've said this before, you could give me and you two sets of leg curls and two sets of leg extensions and say, that's it. And I'd look at you and be like, okay, we have to find a way to cripple ourselves on these four sets.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. And like, oh, that's all you guys did? Yeah, it is. So again, effort, energy, and purpose is always the driver for growth, in my opinion. When you couple that with eating your meals and progressive overload. So, I mean, I know you'll take that win of 9 plates on the squat press for 20, especially after what I had you do before that. So
Yeah.
So, anyways, kind of transitioning into our topic for the day, which is back growth and back training. And you know, that's something that when you got off stage at North Americans last year, I said it wasn't necessarily just your back. I said from the back, I want you to be 10 times better. And I think there is zero doubt in my mind we have achieved that this off season and into your prep. Um, and with each passing week as body fat comes down and you can continue to train hard, like it's just progressing and it's like exponentially progressing, because as your waist comes in, it makes that V taper even more drastic. And when you get the fat off and those erectors start to bulge around your spine, like that's cool shit.
Yeah.
And I think when you take a step back and look at what we have done after that show, and then specifically these last 8 to 10 weeks, it looks very different than what I had you do early on. And what honestly, as I said to you off camera, was what we're doing now, I would never give to a beginner or intermediate, even though we've seen crazy good progress out of.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that fact is overlooked when people are trying to give blanket statements for growth. Um, Especially with the flashiness of the internet now. Like, oh, like I found the secret. It's this one arm pull down, chest supported. Okay, that's making my top guys connect to their lower lat. Perfect. But what about the kid who's trained 2 years who can't even feel his lower lat? He probably not
Yeah.
even gonna tell you where the fuck that is. Meaning where it connects and where the two ends of the muscle, he probably couldn't touch on my body and be like, oh, cool. So I'm gonna expect him to use 30 or 40 pounds on a cable stack. No, no, no. I need him doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's the
so
backwards, sometimes the backwards progression,
yes. Yep.
because like if you start too far forward,
Mhm. Yep.
you can't hit the gas pedal on it because you're not there yet.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. So let's start here with the conversation, David. If you had someone beginner to intermediate, and honestly, even like lower level advanced, what would a base back day for you look like if you were designing their program in terms of exercise
Um,
progression?
Pullovers, some sort of pull up or pull down,
Yep. Yep.
high incline row, so kind of like that
Mhm.
motion.
Yeah.
Um, Neutral grip, chest supported, either T-bar or like the Cybex.
Mhm. Yep.
Um, Not neutral, semi-pronated. Um, but and then something for erectors,
Mhm.
depending on where that day falls.
Yes. Yep. Agreed. That's honestly very similar to what I would mirror. Um, I'm gonna want to pull down or pull up to start, probably a pull up. And if you can't do pull ups, I do assisted pull ups. And I would I would set a rep total and set, let's say to begin 50 total reps of pull ups for the assisted. And I wouldn't change your grip up. I would do neutral. I would do overhand shoulder width. I'd do wide. I'd do semi-supinated. And I'd play around with that grip to be able to learn to connect to and feel your back on all of those different hand positionings and note it and begin to feel and notice like, okay, cool. When I go overhand and wide, where does that hit? When I go neutral and more narrow, where does that hit? And you start to begin to feel and identify different areas and spots of your back based upon your hand position, not only in terms of wrist, but also in terms of spacing, shoulder width.
Yep.
Next up, listen, you know I love dumbbell rows, and I like those because they're unilateral and you're able
Yep.
to focus on one side at a time. I think that also forces you to be able to learn how to brace with your abs aggressively and not twist with your spine. Um, and then just work up progressive with that. And again, all these things for me would be a more volume-based approach because if you're a beginner or intermediate, you need practice. So I'd probably do three
Yeah.
or four sets. If you aren't very strong, I'd probably do like 35s, 45s, 55s, 65s, and just do sets of 8 to 10, working your way up until you hit a hard 10. And then move
Yeah.
on.
And honestly, I really like making like if you're learning that movement,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you find a hard set of 15
Yeah.
and
Okay.
fail with it
You're right. Yeah.
and do it two more times.
Yeah. Correct.
So it looks like 15, 11, 6.
Yes. Yep. Agreed. Agreed.
And it's like, yeah, that sucks, but
Yeah.
you're gonna have to go there.
Yes.
Like, you know,
Right.
but and like that fatigue is not gonna be a problem. I mean, like if you're rowing with an 80-pound dumbbell
Yes.
and you weigh 160 pounds, I mean, like your body will figure it out.
Uh, Agreed. The next thing up, I would do a free weight standing row that's not chest supported. So either a barbell, and that can be overhand or underhand, or I'm going to slam a bar in the corner and do a T-bar row.
Yeah. I've
Same.
been really, really liking Penley rows lately.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The old Dusty special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too, because like the way I've been doing it recently is like it gets rid of my lower back,
Right. Yeah.
even though it's like a lower back.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But like I'm like, oh, if I don't pull, like mentally being like, all right, cool, don't pull with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just use it to support versus like trying to like like you watch people do that and they go like this versus the people who just stay this way.
Yes.
And that really clicked for me, and I'm like, oh, I get it. This is nasty.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that's tricky, right? I think I see that with the Pendlay row. I see that with like CD cable rows a lot. Like the first mover of that weight stack is low back. So it's like you posture up and it's like, no, what if your elbow drive is the reason the weight moves?
Yep.
And that can be very tricky for a lot of people, right? Because then you start to get a little bit of leg drive in there. And as you know, like if you're squatting down a little bit and you're using hamstring and glute, like Do I think that's horrible in the final, like maybe to milk two or three, four more reps? No, I don't mind that at all. But hey, for the first 6 to 8, can you just keep it tight
Yeah.
and learn how the back works? And then I'm going to do something chest supported next with a different grip than you use. So let's say you did a barbell row. I'm going to go do like maybe a chest supported T-bar and use a pronated grip, not a pronated grip, sorry, a neutral grip. And then like you, I'm going to finish with one of the three of a rack pull, an RDL, or a full deadlift. And that's going to be solely based upon need.
Yeah.
And need and also watching you do it. You know, I think we've all seen people like rack pull and you're like, man, that is killing their back. And then I've seen people rack pull and I'm like, there is nothing about that that's back for you.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's also not understanding the proper biomechanics of their body. Like if you're squatting down with your knees and that's how you're standing up is through like knee extension, that's not back, bro. That's legs.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
And
doing a quad movement now.
right. I need you to hinge at the hip. Like the lever, if my legs are here and my upper body's here, that has to move. This doesn't flex. That's my basic anatomy lesson with two hands. Um, so yeah, that's what my back day is going to look like. And then if I wanted to finish with something, maybe just like a simple dead hang from a pull-up bar. And that's like to get a little bit of grip strength to stretch your lats out and then spinal decompression. Um,
Yep.
and honestly, I just milked the dog shit out of that. Like, and if you need some like change up or variety, like do a pull down instead of a pull up. Instead of doing barbell rows, do the T-bar row, or use an underhand supinated grip, or use the
Yep.
easy bar. If you that final machine chest supported row, I mean, shit, you could do every chest supported row in your gym every other week, like, and just rotate that piece to piece and keep the others stagnant, and then
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and then as you begin to develop strength and connectivity to your back, like then we can begin to really more fine-tooth comb it and be like, okay, cool, like your upper back is way thicker than your lats or your lower lats. Like, all right, now we can instead of, maybe finishing with a chest supported row, we're gonna do something to like a DY row to specifically target that low lat, and we're gonna do it one arm at a time.
Yep.
Again, that's after you have what I would consider a base level of tissue. Because listen, we all know guys who just simply just deadlifted in barbell road and had monstrous backs. And you'll just like you'll find out pretty soon, like if that's you or not.
Yeah.
So and this is going to kind of transition us into when I developed this new Scorpion plan, the focus of it is back and arms. So even though, listen, your legs are growing.
Yeah. My legs always eat.
Yes. Like chest, shoulders, and legs, you're gonna hear me say, oh, they might be on the back burner. Those sessions are still great, man. So like if you put the effort and energy into chest, shoulders, and legs, they're going to grow off of it. End of story. But the focus of this training program is to specifically bring up back and arms. And that's two areas or two body parts that I'm seeing more and more guys have underdeveloped. Now, I have my theories as to why that is. Um, the two being, I think push pull legs have destroyed arm growth. Um, and then for the vast majority, if you have good arms, you can look at dumbbell curls and they'll grow. So ignore me if you're doing like Chris, I have 23-inch arms. Awesome. So did Phil Heath, and he just played basketball. So I don't want to hear it. Like, not impressed. I'm talking about us normal humans with regular genetics. And if your arms are under 20, like stop it with the push pull legs. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And then for back, man, I think with the emphasis on so much progressive overload, I think guys are missing the mark and they're too concerned about the like chasing that logbook that they're missing their back. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
are they getting like systemic growth? Yeah, probably. But if your low lats suck and your upper back is great, when you're doing a row, all that upper back shit is going to still load. So I need you to rein that shit back in. Are we still going to do hard stuff? Yes. But if you look at it zoomed out in the bodybuilding macro sense, that's what I see. What do you think? Do you have any other like ideas or theories on why backs are maybe as a whole one of the most lagging body parts?
The a lot of what you said too, but also so many are scared of doing more volume.
Yeah, yes. Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I mean, Seth Rosen just talked about that, how he started all of his back days with 100 pull-ups.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, and people are like, that's too much fatigue. It's like, it's a body weight pull up.
Right. Right.
You know, like if I was to do 100 body weight push-ups before chest, that would not affect. I could do the 150s after that. I promise you that.
Yes. Oh, easy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. And you know what's interesting is in the era that I grew up, when people spoke about back and legs, they always said the reason those two body parts were so demanding is because there's so many different muscles within each of those to target, right? So if you're thinking about back, you have lats, you have upper back, you have teres, you have rhomboids, you have traps, upper, lower, and middle. You have rear delts that come into play. You have your erectors. There's so much shit going on back there that all are attacked in a little bit different way. It's some nuance there, right? And I'm not saying we have to take a scalpel to all of back training, but if you're finding your, say, second half of your intermediate into your advanced bodybuilding that your back is a weakness, we have to begin to address some of these issues. Or
Yep.
what's going to happen is, let's say your back is growing at like 60% rate, where the rest of your body is growing at 100%. All that's doing is making your back even more of a weakness, even though it's still moving in the right direction, like progression and like training of progression, right?
Hmm.
Um, and we all have those body parts. Um, I feel like yours run very like weirdly cyclical. For a long time, your chest was not good. And then next thing you know, it's just like, I think I'm gonna grow now. Like he like raising his hand in the back, like, hey Chris, can I grow? I'm like, yeah, take off, man. And your chest just went bam. Now, there's probably a lot of factors that play into that. Maybe exercise selection, maybe age, maybe you just figure out how to train chest, or maybe you just decided to turn on one day. Um,
Yeah.
but I think for the vast majority, and this is, I'm talking about females and males, honestly. When I go to amateur shows and even pro shows, you can see it. The feedback is typically for a lot of guys and girls, you just need more back. And I think people get really frustrated with that because they're like, man, I'm killing my back. Because I know that was me. For years, I was like, I'm fucking hammering my back, man. But it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, that's where the, like what you said, step back and look what you're doing.
Right.
You know, because like with anything, like if you don't assess what you're doing, you can't assess what you're not doing,
Correct. Yes.
you know? And I mean, like back is such, like, there's a lot of details what matter, and then there's a lot what don't,
Right. Yeah.
what people get really concerned with. But I mean, we all know where if you're pulling with your elbow back here, it's going to be more upper back versus when your elbow's tucked.
Yeah.
And it's like if you record your top set, and you're like, all right, my goal is lats, and your elbow's the fuck up here.
Right. Right.
Like, oh, let's take the weight back down,
Yeah.
figure out how to keep this here,
Yes.
and do it again.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. What you
because
just
I
said
see
there
that
is
so
key.
often. People are, you know, especially in like a single arm pull down.
Yeah.
You know, they here,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
and it tracks out, and it's like
Yeah.
we all know the first rep is not growing your muscle tissue.
Right. Yes.
You know,
Yep.
so when you're failing, you know, and you're actually over here versus where you should be,
Yes. Yep.
no wonder your lat's not growing. But your rear delts look fucking great.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that was my problem for years. Is I'm like, well, I'm getting to point A and point B, and I'm moving weight, and next thing you know, look at my photos. It's like, oh, awesome, your back looks great, but your rear delts look incredible, bro. Thanks. I guess it's a backhanded compliment. Um, but yeah, you're right. Like if you and I know this because I'm guilty of it. Like you said, as you begin to pull, you're like, good, good, good. Weight gets hard, hard, hard. That shit just starts going that way. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, all that shit went from lat, lat, lat. Now it's like upper back rear delt.
Yep.
And that's the progression of in one rep, like within the same rep. Like you can start out with perfect intention, but when that shit gets hard, and what I always tell people is this, and I had to come to terms with it. There's a reason it's getting hard. It's because that lat is weak. So what does that mean? I need to lower that fucking weight to where I can stay on it and then begin to build the weight back up. And
Yep.
it's like, oh fuck, well that's humbling. Now I go from, dumbbell rowing the 180s to I'm using hundreds again. Well, guess what? When you build it back up to 180, you have a back.
Yeah.
So I think that so many people mindlessly go through their warm-ups and feeders of back and just like, okay, I just gotta get warmed up. Where with me, how I had to like change my mindset, I was like, okay, cool. And I was taught this by a very elite level power lifter when I was 19. And I used to watch her warm up on bench press, and I was like, man, Robin, your form looks so great on your warm-ups. And she said, Chris, I treat every fucking rep like a PR. She's like, it's a max effort. She said, from the way I set up to the way because man, if you watched her, like she grabbed 135 and it's like she was fighting with four plates. Like it was, you wouldn't know if you just watched her body on a squat, on a deadlift, on a bench press. You wouldn't know what the weight was if you couldn't see it because
Yeah.
every time it was like an automated system. And I remember thinking that, and I wrote it down in my notes one day. I was like, Chris, like every rep from the first one, no matter how light the weight is, to the very last one of that exercise, it has to look the same and it has to be perfect. And I have to connect to it. And it's not just, oh, I'm just doing pull downs to get warmed up. Nope, fuck that shit. 10 out of 10 contractions from the first rep to the last one. And then I move on. And I know again that's going to take a lot of people some ego because and I think I've said this to you. I was like, back training for me takes a lot of concentration because and I know you're the same way. You and I can move a lot of fucking weight for back, but keeping that weight on our back is a skill that needed to be acquired. Because those two things are not the same. Um, I'm trying to think here, like in terms of the next topic of with back and your recent progress. What do you think, like an overarching theme, or do you have something that clicked in your brain, like I was talking to you about, like with the warm-ups? Do you have something that like changed it, or the way you approached it, or thought about it, or did you pose more? Like deep tissue work, was it all of that?
I think a good amount of, well, not the, me being more mindful of my external rotation of my shoulders,
Okay. Yeah.
making sure I can get back here.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I mean, like, if you're doing a pull down, right? But your body can only go this far.
Right. Yes.
Think about it, you know?
Why do you have massive teres?
Yeah.
Because your pull downs are this way.
Yeah. So
Right.
managing the mobility side of things is, I mean, it goes with everything too. I mean, like, I can't tell you how many people like their struggles will grow their legs, and it's just like, can you do a 90-90 and they're 4 feet off the ground? You know, it's like, your hips are beyond tight.
Right.
You know, like none of this is gonna feel any okay.
No. 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 Agreed. All right. So what I thought I would do next here is I'm gonna pull up some photos so people can actually see. All right, share screen. Let's see. Let me know if you can see this. Can you see that yet, Dave, or no?
Not yet.
Okay. The glorious. All right, share. Let's see if that works. Desktop, entire screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay, good. All right, so that's a picture of your back. Was how many days ago is that? 2 days.
Uh, that was Friday.
Okay, yeah,
So
perfect. So if you look at that, I laugh because I know how much this has progressed.
yeah,
And I mean, there's not a missing section of your back now. Low lats are there, traps are always there, rear delts are shown, erectors are go all the way down to your damn waistline. Like your lats are sweeping off the hip. And that's a perfect example too. If you're just talking about your shoulder mobility, you can see that there in this lat spread,
yeah,
which is fucking super cool. And that density is only acquired through hard work in my mind.
yeah,
Um, so that's that one. Let me let's see. I'm gonna go to shared. Yeah, okay. You had that right there. Cool. All right, so this way you can see the back double, you can see the lat spread again. Again, this is a prime example of you taking a weakness and turning it into a strength, right?
yeah,
And I know what a lot of people are going to say is they're going to say, oh, there's like time, effort, and energy. Yes, I agree with that. But for it to level up this much in 1 year one season of an all season to pre-contest and you're not even fully in shape yet, like that's what utterly excites me, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so that's yours. Now, I know you're gonna say, "Oh, well, Chris, that's a one-off. Dave grows on everything, right?"
Yeah.
And you probably wish it was that way.
Right.
Listen, this was me on Friday as well. That used to be a fucking weakness, next level, right? And the density from the back that you can see it from the front, but like that back relaxed, I am beyond fucking proud of. Um,
Yeah.
again, I know my rear delts are gonna steal the show in most things, and you can see that without a doubt in my rear lat spread. Um, but that's really cool. And then one more thing I wanted to show here so you can say, oh, it's not just two dudes. So Kina, she's been doing the Scorpion program leading into her prep. Let's see. Well, there's a back double. So you can see her progress there. That's when she started with me on the left. Just absolutely wild
Yeah.
in terms of development and progress. Let's see if I can. I thought I posted her lat spread. Maybe it's on her page. I hope it is. Maybe not. Maybe that's going to be from this one. Let's see. You know, I mean, you can see the progress that she's made
Yeah.
with the back double and just like the thickness of her upper back, specifically. So, you know, the reason I did want to show people that was solely because, like, not only does progress take time to get to, in terms of back, because it's like, okay, cool, I have to acquire the skill of back. I don't know why I can't find that lat spread. It's driving me fucking batty. Oh, okay, here's another good example. Here's Dwight. He's someone else who's doing the program. Listen, that doesn't happen overnight, obviously, but you can still see the progress in the back. So what I wanted to talk about next was just showing those hard examples of, if the only way to know if your back is progressing is to take photos and videos of it.
Yeah.
Um, because so many people, like, they just take their front and side shots and they never are looking at their back. And it's like, oh, well, what does it look like? Which is why I'm always a big proponent of, after you train back, if it's a weakness, you need to go pose it and you need to video it. You need to see
Yeah.
it moving. Can you do a back relaxed? Can you do a back double? Can you do a back lat spread? Look at the front lat spread. Look at the front double. Those lats should be coming out of your armpits like a cobra from the front. Think about Dorian Yates. And I think a lot of times people are like, oh, Chris just wants to see me with a pump. Yes, I do definitely want to see you with a pump, but I want to see when you pose the muscle. How does it look? Because that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
We pose it. And I can say this, like, with what the things that I've been having us all do and why I think they've been working is, it's very intelligent exercise sequencing. It's a great mix of like scalpel exercises where it's like, okay, I need you to drill the lower lat on these next two. But then I'm gonna say, then I go to the next exercise. I'm like, Dave, I need you to row the fucking heaviest dumbbells you can for 20.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go blow out your lower back with reverse hypers, with banded hypers, with barbell hypers, fill in the blank. So not only do you have that in terms of exercise sequencing and selection, it's a good bit of volume over the course of your week. So even though some days your volume, we may only do 4 back exercises and the volume may be on the lower side, that second part of the week, I may have you do nothing but supersets or giant sets or just shitloads of volume.
Hmm.
And I think that has been what has been driving progress, outside of me knowing the four of you and myself are willing to train to the end.
Yeah.
As a whole, do you think there's any takeaways or things that you're like, man, this has really been working? I'd love to hear that feedback.
The frequency has been awesome, actually. Because I mean, like, I think we did back like 4 times in a 10-day period at one point,
Yeah,
you know,
yes.
and it doesn't always do that. It kind of waves.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
so there's plenty of time to recover from that still.
Mhm. Yeah.
But, back is, yeah, it's one of the, like, just like legs. I mean, there's a reason why wellness girls hit legs 3, 4 times a week.
Correct. Yes.
Like,
Yep.
you have the ability to train different parts of it
Yep.
multiple times.
Yes. Yeah. And to me, like, as long as you aren't doing a lot of spinal loading, it's safe, right? Because listen,
Yeah.
I could write you a program where you're just banging the basics 3 times a week, but then you come back to me in 8 weeks and be like, Chris, I can't even stand up straight. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
heavy
you're
weight.
doing RDLs, deadlifts, and dumbbell or barbell followed by dumbbell rows.
Right. And you're like, I wonder why my lower back hurts. No
Yeah,
shit. Only Dusty Hanshaw can recover from
yeah,
that. You know, I'm gonna credit this too, and I know it's gonna scare some people and they might hear it. I only have us training legs 10 to every 10 to 14 days. And then if I get a wild hair in my ass, I might train like legs back to back weeks, and then I'll take 10 days off from it.
yep,
And out of the five of us, no one's legs have gotten worse. They've actually gotten better. And I think it's because when you train legs properly, it depletes your energy and recovery restores so much that it steals from other body parts.
yep.
And again, I know that's going to sound scary to some, like, oh, Chris, like, what do you mean I didn't train legs this week? Yeah, you trained them hard literally 9 days ago. We're going to hit them again tomorrow. Relax. Like, and again, that's why, like, when I wrote this program, the only downside that I thought is if people wouldn't be able to get over that fact.
Yeah,
Um, is that something you had to hurdle mentally, or you just kind of go with the flow?
yeah, just kind of went with it. I was like, well, that definitely makes sense. I've seen it happen to me a couple of times. So
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I probably should have mentioned that. Like we've had periods where you've had to like not train legs and they didn't shrink.
yeah,
So, again, if your legs are weak, I still believe your legs will grow on this.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. If you train as hard as possible for the one session you have, there's very little chance, as long as you're eating and you're sleeping correctly,
correct.
but you're not going to cause some kind of stimulus.
Agreed. Well, since yeah, I 100% get on board with that. And again, like I always try to think in terms of the cumulative week and then the month and then the training cycle of 8 weeks. You have to, and I know this is going to sound intense to some, but like if you're always redlining every muscle group, will it recover at the fastest rate? And I think yes, if you manage your split properly. And I believe that's what I've nailed on this program.
Yeah,
Notice I didn't say manage your fatigue properly. I said manage your frequency right? Because a pump back day isn't CNS draining. An
no,
arm day isn't CNS draining. Chest and shoulders out, sorry, the shoulder portion of chest day isn't CNS draining the way I have it set up. So we're having to click the CNS on your heavy back day, on your leg day, and on chest. That's only 3 times.
yeah,
I think we can get away, and that's why I think you guys and I myself are seeing progress right now.
yeah,
And it excites the dog shit out of me. Like it gets me so fired up, like because I knew I was I'm roughly 8 weeks ahead of you guys,
yeah,
so I know what's coming, and it's just really fun to watch because I'm like, okay, I'm learning this, I'm learning this. Okay, cool. Now I want to see if they experience the same shit, and you are. So
yeah,
I'm like, and it also helps too that I manage everyone's nutrition and supplements, and I know that the four of you are gonna do everything in your power to get better in the gym. So again, I don't promise miracle results for the people who aren't willing to like get after it. And I even put in the intro, if you aren't eating enough, this will not work.
yeah,
So, yeah, a great example of within that is, and I'll share a funny story about both you and I. I posted that Pritchett row, which essentially is just a chest supported dumbbell row. When I started this program, I was using 80s for 10. I did 125s for 7 and 3 partials last week. That's fucking wild.
that's insane.
Right, right. And that's an exercise I've always been bad at. Like,
Yeah,
when I say bad, I mean not strong at. I couldn't
yeah,
move a lot of weight. Like, I remember seeing people like row the hundreds on that and be like, how in the fuck are they doing that? They aren't bigger than me. And it it's an exercise that I was like, you know what? When I got that chest pad in at that gym, I'm like, I just decided in my mind I'm gonna get better at it, and I don't care how long it takes.
yeah,
Um, I'm sure you're the same way with exercises that you're just like, fuck you, like I'm gonna get better at this.
yeah.
And what's I said I had a funny story about you. The first time I did 125s on the Pritchard, I was so proud of myself. And then you sent me a video of you doing the 130s, and I was like, oh, and you got more reps. So I was like, he got me a weight and reps, damn it. I was so proud of myself. So yeah, a lesson to the coaches out there. Like that actually, even though I said I was pissed off, I'm pissed off at myself. I'm actually proud of him. So, you know,
Yeah,
that's one of those situations where it was like personally I lost, but through my business I won. So
yeah, still one.
double win. So yeah, anything you want to finish up here with, man? Anything you've learned from this so far, anything you feel like you can pass on to people out there who are struggling with back that you feel like is a pretty key piece for growing it?
Other than, I mean, making sure you're doing your mobility work, I think that just is an underbearing fact what so many people just skip,
Yes. Yeah.
because it's not sexy, it's not fun, it's not rewarding in the moment,
Right.
like doing that in the morning, like, yeah, it's kind of it's kind of like meditation, but like at the same time, it's like you don't get a pump from it. You don't feel amazing after doing it like you do with, a weight training session.
Correct. Yes.
And it's just kind of like the progressions are even slower than, weight training,
Right. Yes. Agreed.
and, but it's one of those like 1 + 1 = 3 scenarios
Oh yeah.
when those are in play.
Yes. What's really interesting is I just recently I'll have to send it to you. It's really that good. There's a lady on YouTube. She doesn't even speak English, but she does YouTube yoga. So I've been doing that on both my off mornings to start the day. And it's 15 minutes for tight hips and low back.
Yeah,
Man, like I've felt so much better the last 2 weeks just by doing that.
yeah,
And it's not, I'm not going to pop out of the bed and like, oh, I can't wait to do my yoga today.
yeah,
But when I finish, I'm like, man, my low back and hips feel great. Um,
mhm,
and it's very endorphin releasing and it's very peaceful and calm too. There's not one word that she speaks throughout the whole session, and then she makes you meditate at the end. So it's like 16 minutes total of my day on my 2 off days, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And listen, the first time I did it, I was drenched in sweat like a fucking fat kid.
yeah,
And I'm someone who is pretty religious with my mobility work. It's just something different. Like I don't normally do like that happy baby pose. Man, that crushes me.
yeah.
Hamstrings, everything. I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. Um, the one piece of advice I think I can give, and I'm going to give a shout out to one of my newer clients. His name's Hugh, and he has been sending me probably 3 to 4, maybe 5 sets per day of his training for the past 10 weeks since he started with me, and just have me look at his form. And he is exponentially leveling up because we're changing and fixing his form. And he's someone who, his words to me were, man, I'm so used to giving people advice on how to lift. And now it's a very humbling experience, but also a rewarding experience that you're like fine tooth combing my exercise to make it perfect. And here's what I told him. I was like, man, if you want to level up like you say you do, if we can get your food nailed, which is happening, we upped his training intensity because I just held him to a higher standard. And then now we're making sure that every exercise, his execution is exactly how I want it. Man, in a year or 2 years, he's gonna make the old him when he started with me look like a fucking child. And I know that
Yeah.
in his heart. Um, and I know it sucks. Like, listen, there are days where I don't want to set my phone up and record. I don't. I just want to go lift. But as much as I do it for Instagram, I grew up, as I said to you guys, I played sports my whole fucking life. And when you watch your fucking game film, and for us, that's lifting weights, you can critique it if you
Yeah.
think of, because you can't look at it emotionally, right? I had to take my leg press and say, you know what? This is too shallow, Chris. You need to reestablish proper depth, and you're gonna have to take some weights off, bro.
Yeah.
And then guess what? I dropped down to 6 plates and said, you know what? I'm gonna humble myself. I'm gonna eat my knees. And I'm gonna do until I can do 20 with 6, I'm not going to 7. And then guess what happened? My knee pain went away and my legs got better. So I really challenge everyone out there, take the time, set up your phone for your top set or your final set, however you look at that, record it, and then when you get home, unemotionally watch it and then write down what you need to fix.
Yeah.
Then when you go to train that body part again next week, so let's say dumbbell rows, and your feedback was you're starting the movement with your trap, you're not getting a good stretch in your lat, and you're twisting too much with your spine, or and then let's say a fifth one is you're getting some leg drive on the final ones. I need to fix all four of those things. Can we do it? And then when you're driving to the gym, have that note in your phone before you go to dumbbell rows. Read those fucking bullet points and say, I'm checking at least one of those off, damn it. One of
Yeah.
them is going to be fixed today.
Yeah.
And then you just got to repeat.
Oh, 100%.
So there you have it, guys. Back training, where to start, and then we didn't really get into like where to progress to. But the advice there is build off of that beginner and intermediate program that Dave and I both laid out. And by build off of that, that's when we begin to, you have to step back, assess your back, determine what areas need to be brought up, and then look at the exercises that are going to do that best that you have access to in terms of equipment. So there you have it. Another episode. Chris and Dave, we are done.